Welcome to the Queen's Lair, a lifestyle podcast. Get inspired by our latest tips and information about small business, entrepreneurship, natural hair, travel, food, and even relationships. Stay tuned for another great episode. I am your host, Renee Patrice. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning into my podcast once again. Why? Do you guys remember the Manti story from about 10 years ago? Where he was a player, Samoan background. He was a major player for Notre Dame and went on into the NFL, and I think had like an 8 or 9 year career in the NFL. But it was a big thing because major game, his grandmother had passed away and his girlfriend passed away on the same day. And it was a big feel-good story. And Netflix, I didn't even know that this was even coming back around. I had no idea. Netflix Untold, which tends to dig into the behind the scenes of stories that, we had no idea the details on. Revisited this story, and the title of it is Untold: The Girlfriend Who Didn't Exist. And it went into it interviewed him, Manti Teo, and it also interviewed the would-be girlfriend. And when I first heard the story years ago, I thought maybe, when it came out to be a hoax, or that's what they were calling it, a hoax. I thought this is a classic situation where maybe he's not able to be his authentic self because of football. Because it did come out that the person was catfishing him and was actually a guy and playing multiple roles within one family. They went so far as to fake their death on top of his real grandmother passing away. Then having cancer and just a whole function of foolishness, okay? And this is no shade to Manti Teo, because this man had no idea what was happening. He was what he thought was a genuine long distance relationship. And being in football as he was, there was no shock about that, nothing unusual. One of his best friends on the team also maybe saw his girlfriend once or twice a year, so it wasn't unusual. But I know that he never dug into telling his parents details like he never met the girl or whatever. That wasn't going to happen. So okay, we get that piece. But there was so many things to prove the truth of the situation that he never questioned it. He lived a very quiet life, in Hawaii, and just this very Mormon, very, more of a sheltered type of life. So there was nothing really to question, And you're talking about college students, who just may not have all of the wherewithal to look for certain things, And if you're just a good person and the person seems like they're so together, it can happen. People get catfished all the time. But this story is it's so unruly how people take for granted good people. And I feel like this person who did this pretty much got off scot-free. And Manti went on to say how he forgives them. I don't even know if I even have that type of personality. Well, not today. Maybe years and years ago, but I don't think that the level of anger I think that I would have would just be too much. It would just be way too much. It's disheartening how people can use people that way for their own gain, for their own personal fulfillment or whatever. You absolutely have no heart whatsoever. You find holes or open places where you can insert yourself into this person's life, and you find the holes, the weaknesses, just like in football. That's the name of the game in football. You find the opposite team's weakness and holes and places where they're not going to be guarding. And that's where you slide through. And it is unbelievable to me that people still continue to do this stuff. And it's just like, I don't have any sympathy for catfishers when it comes to I really think, his whole Manti Te'o's entire career was affected by this. A loss of millions and millions of dollars. He was slated to be first round pick, and I don't think that happened. I think it was second round. Just a whole lot of craziness. And I just don't understand, this really is the bigger picture of why we don't want to be ourselves. Why we as human beings don't want to just be who God created us to be. There is no need to fake the funk out here. There's no need to just be yourself. I don't even know how else to say it, because really that's the bigger picture of this. Just be yourself. Why do you feel you have to keep up with the Joneses? Why do you feel like what is all that for? If everybody was just themselves, then your vibe, I say this all the time, your vibe will attract your tribe. But we're so busy as a human race being everything else but ourselves, and then you wonder why the group of friends that you had, you no longer have anything in common with. You wonder why the spouse that you're with, you no longer have anything in common with, or you grow apart because you were faking who you were. Some of the time, I'm not saying every time, but you fake. If you want to be with somebody of a whatever, just be with that person. If you want to have certain friends or whatever the case may be, or you just want to vibe out, just do that. Why are you trying to change yourself into something else to fit into somewhere where you don't belong? You shape-shifted into a square to fit in the middle of triangles. It don't make sense. Just be yourself. It makes no sense. And this is really what it is. You've got a person who is transitioning, which I know this is basically a spoiler. Spoiler alert. If you don't want to know the whole story, now would be the time to click away from this podcast. Go watch Untold, the girlfriend who didn't exist on Netflix, and then come back to the second piece. Okay, so now we're going to get into the spoiler. The spoiler of this is not only did this happen, and Manti took the brunt of it as if he was part of the hoax. He had no idea, and this documentary proves that tenfold, that he had no idea that this was going on. But the individual who pulled this off is actually a woman now. They have transitioned. They were transitioning from, they were born male and becoming a woman, and is living as a woman now. And this whole thing began because they wanted to be able to live out their life as a woman back when they could not. They were in sports, they were in football, they were in their father's church, all of this, which was very in line with what Manti Teo grew up as, which is why they were able to find all the holes and get into Manti's head and life and heart. So this individual wanted to live another life, kind of like Second Life, or remember those video games online where people actually get to create a whole new persona because they felt like they were not able to be their authentic self. As they felt, I guess, that they were a woman or whatever the case may be. But I'm just like, I don't understand how they have not suffered more consequences from this. I'm just not getting that, and maybe Manti has just decided to let it go. And Godspeed, the fact that he has moved on. He went on and had a career in the NFL, got married, and has a family now. Listen, I don't know if I'm that good. I don't know if I would really. I would have anger beyond. I really would. Because I just think that's a human response to these type of things. But like I said, people who do this, and I'm sure maybe somebody who does this, maybe listening to this, stop it. Just be yourself. You could ruin somebody's life tremendously. There's a catfish show. What is it, on MTV or one of those stations? It's unbelievable to me the lengths that people go. Stop this. And then I want to say to society as a whole, we have to allow people to be themselves. Stop making fun of people when they're different than you, because that is a lot of pressure too, especially for folks who feel different, who feel marginalized or whatever. Going through these lengths to pretend to be somebody else because it's too painful. Can you imagine walking around in your life feeling like it's too painful for you to be who God created you to be? That is, I don't ever want to feel like that, or feel like I have to put on airs, or feel like I have to dress a certain way, or feel like I don't want that type of life. I don't want that type of anxiety. I don't want it. We have to start treating people with kindness and understanding. And you may not get why they feel the way that they do. You may not understand why your child is coming to you saying that they're gay. You may not understand why your sister is coming to you telling that they're trans. You may not understand why your son is, deciding that he wants to be fluid or whatever. It doesn't matter. This is accept people. You cannot change people. Accept people for who they are, even if you don't understand it. Have conversations to try to learn more about why they are where they are. Whether you believe they were born that way, whether you believe it was a choice, all of that, you need to be open. At least to hear what they have to say. Because there are people taking their lives every single day because they can't be who they are. And they're going to, and some people, like in this situation, are going to great lengths to create another persona of themselves because they're afraid to be who they are. And this documentary proves all of that. There was even some stuff on Manti's side where, you know, at one point Notre Dame wasn't necessarily the school that he wanted to go to. He was thinking that he was going to go to USC. So he made some decisions based on outside forces and not really necessarily where he wanted to be, but maybe that's what got him to the NFL. We'll never really know. We don't know what his career would have been if he was with USC. We don't know if he would have been in this catfishing situation. Lots of variables here. Things happen the way that they happen, and we always say things happen for a reason. Maybe it was even just to have this documentary to help somebody else not fall victim to these type of situations. But it is just I tell you, I have zero tolerance for this catfishing type stuff, and just be who you are. And if you're having a hard time being who you are, that's where therapy comes in. There's so many different programs now. You're online for all these other things. Get online and look into therapy. Some therapy sessions, therapy programs have a couple of free sessions just to find out where you are within yourself. Because to go through these type of lengths to literally ruin somebody's life, even to disrupt them emotionally, is just not the way you want to go. But if you guys get to watch this documentary, I highly recommend it. If you guys remember this story from about 10 years ago, it's called Untold, The Girlfriend Who Didn't Exist, and it's the story of football player Manti and this catfishing situation. Definitely check it out. It's very eye-opening as well. And if you're a parent, when you're talking to your kids and, your kids are online all the time, this would be a good time to have that conversation and make sure that you're paying attention to what your kids are doing online. Because this guy who did this, who now has transitioned to being a woman, I mean, this could have been a predator. And this is a predator in a certain respect, because they're going after people's emotional, attachments. But when we're talking about, folks that go online and fake who they are, you're talking about opening the door for sexual predators like it's nobody's business. It didn't go to this extent with this, but this is exactly how these things begin. So have these conversations with the youth, because they're always online and we don't always see what they're doing. This is a cautionary tale, honestly. But yeah, Untold, The Girlfriend Who Didn't Exist. It's on Netflix now. Definitely check it out. It's unbelievable. Anyway, you guys, I just had to share my recap of that. And like, share, subscribe to this podcast. Connect with me over on Instagram at Onyx Queen Media. Talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye. Online savings simplified. Don't search for coupon codes ever again. With one click, Honey's smart shopping assistant will automatically apply discounts to your cart in seconds. Save on all your favorite things. Easily pay less for products you're already buying online. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Join Honey for free. It takes 2 clicks to add Honey to your Chrome, Safari, Firefox, or Opera browser. Find savings in seconds. While you shop, Honey will find working promo codes across the entire internet, and you save instantly. With 1 click, Honey will apply the best deals to your cart. It's that easy. So what are you waiting for? Get Honey. Download it today. Visit our link, www.tinyurl.com/ONYXHONEY. That's www.tinyurl.com/Onyx Honey. Start saving right now.